Hey friends, this video is for our kindergarten through 4th grade team for January week 1. I hope you all had an amazing Christmas and a wonderful New Year's. Thank you so much for continuing to serve at Oak Ridge Kids. I am pumped to kick off a new year, 2024, and we're starting with the virtue of responsibility, showing you can be trusted with what is expected of you. What a great virtue for January. And our memory verse for the month, hello. Suppose you can be trusted with something very little. Then you can also be trusted with something very large. Luke 16:10. What a great verse to teach our kids. So week 1, we kick off the new year in Matthew 22. The religious leaders were always trying to trap Jesus with his own words, and this moment was no different. A law expert asked Jesus, out of the hundreds of laws they were to follow, which one was the most important? Jesus simplified everything and defined love as the top priority. Our most important responsibility is to love God and love others as we love ourselves. So our bottom line for this week, love God and love others. These are two simple ideas, but they're not always simple to put into practice. We hope that as kids discover more about responsibility, they'll start to understand the ways they can love God and love the people God has put into their lives. The greatest commandment, such a great way to start off 2024 for myself and for our kids. So we'd love for you to be to your small groups by 8:20 and 10:20. Just to make sure that you've got everything ready to roll. Leaders, directors know that you're here. Don't forget, we do have free coffee and donuts for all of our volunteers in the garage door room. Kiddos will start to check in at 8:30 and 10:30. As they come in, they can play with toys or they can do their weekly coloring page, which is Jesus teaching people to love God and love others. Then when service starts, you can also be asking kids their favorite part about Christmas. Then when service starts at 8:45 and 10:45, this is really simple. So this is really for our littler kids. I have copies, I forgot to get those. I'll get them. With guess in 10 cards for the older kids where it gives like clues about an animal and they try to guess in 10. So our theme for this month is kind of talking a lot about like pet care that goes with responsibility. So you can ask kids these simple questions or you can do the harder guess in 10 ones. And then you can ask kids to think about pets they know, maybe their own or a family member's or a friend or a neighbor's. And you can ask them, what type of pet are you thinking about? Who owns the pet? What does the owner have to do to take care of it? What does the pet eat? What kind of home does it need? If you could have any pet in the world, what would you have and why? And then you can close by saying something like, pets take a lot of responsibility. And today in large group, we're going to hear about a responsibility that Jesus gave his followers. So let's head over to large group and learn more. So at 8:55 and 10:55, you'll go over to large group. When you get back from large group, you can pass out snack. Gather kids into a circle, make sure they know your name, introduce themselves to each other. You can ask for any prayer requests, and then you're going to teach kids one of the following hand signs for love. So you can teach them this sign for love or this sign for love. Or I guess kids now do like this, which is so awkward. So this. And then you're just going to use the conversation guide below to lead kids in prayer. So you're going to have kids make half of the love sign, either crossing one arm over their chest or curving one hand when you say love God. And then they're going to make the other half when you say love others. And then if you want to, you can close in that prayer, having kids do the motions. And then for memory verse, you're just going to show kids how to look up Luke 16:10. You can show them the hand motions. And then if you'd like to, you can play Simon Says. You can play 1 or 2 regular rounds of Simon Says. You can choose a kid to be Simon if you'd like. And then you're going to close out the last round being Simon. You can do regular Simon Says for a bit if you'd like. And then you're going to have kids do the memory verse. You're going to say, Simon says, repeat after me. Suppose you can be trusted. And then Simon Says, repeat after me, with something very little. And then you're going to do the rest of the verse doing Simon Says. And then you can close by saying, our verse tells us that if you can be trusted with something little, then you can be trusted with something large. If you can take care of something small, then you can take care of something big. Just like in our game, if you follow Simon, then you win the game. If you practice your memory verse, then you'll know it really well. What about if you show your parents you can pick up after yourself? Then they may trust you to have more responsibility with something you're asking for. If you don't get upset about being asked to put down your device and instead come down for dinner with a great attitude, then you might be trusted with more screen time when dinner is done. If we love others through the small choices every day, we accomplish a big love for God. Taking care of God's people is the best way we can love God. So remember to love God and love others in everything we do. And then finally, for the closing activities, you have 2 choices. You probably won't have time for both. If you do, great. You can pick one or the other. The first one is dominoes. So we've got 2 sets of dominoes for each group. Each baggie has 20 dominoes in it. So you can split your group in half and give each half a baggie of dominoes. Have them work together to create a domino run. And once they've made it, they can knock it down. They can show each other their domino runs if they want. If you have time, they can do it again. And you'll close by saying something like, if you built your domino runs close enough together, each domino followed the one before it. God's commandments are kind of like dominoes. Today in our story, we learned that as long as you've got the love of God and love others thing down, the rest of God's commandments will follow. And as a matter of fact, it gets even simpler than that. If you're loving others, then you are loving God. So if you want to make it personal, share about a time when you fulfilled God's commandments by loving God and loving others. The second choice that you can do if you'd like to is play a little game. So you're going to read Matthew 22:37-39 out loud and ask kids what Jesus said is the most important commandment, to love God with all your heart. And then ask kids what Jesus said is like the most important commandment, to love your neighbor as yourself. And tell kids that loving God with all your heart, soul, and mind means loving God with everything you have. It can be loving God by sharing your things, giving your time, helping others, or saying kind words. Then you've got 2 signs, a love God and a love others. So you can put these on the ground, on the wall, by your small group area, kind of separate them out. Have kids gather in the middle, and you're going to read scenarios, and they will go to either the love God page or the love others page. So, for example, you share your cookie with your friend. That would be love others. You sing songs to God. That would be love God. So this activity is a little bit geared toward our younger kids, but still gives some practical application about what loving God and loving others means. So you can vary the pace that you call things out, guide kids to tiptoe or move slow motion or baby steps. And just close by saying, Jesus knew that when we love God and love others, we're doing the 2 most important things. So again, make it personal. Tell kids a way that you're going to love God this week, and tell kids about a way that you could love others this week. And then that's it. So what a great message. This is really what our church is built all around, loving God and loving others. So that's what we've got for you this week. I hope you all had a wonderful New Year's. Thank you so much for serving in Oak Bridge Kids, and we'll see you on Sunday.